All right, all right. What's happening, family? Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you all, God. Thank you all for being here this evening. So we are here with Bakari Jambor. So we're going to be having a little bit of discussion tonight. So let me know if you can hear me. Make sure I can that y'all can hear me. I got to give me a one in the comments if you can hear me. So just making sure that we live and we doing this thing. And Bakari, you looks like you're still on mute, brother. So let me all right. Let me get can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? All right. Thank you, Amani. Thank you, Nubian Goddess. Appreciate it, Kayla. Thank y'all. All right. So we good. All right. So we got Bakari Jambor, and he's a former preacher, retired Marine for 20 years of service in the United States Marine Corps. Held multiple roles, including logistician. I don't even know if I said that right. Logistician. Certified counselor in substance abuse control, suicide prevention, and sexual assault advocacy. He also served as an environmental compliance supervisor, safety supervisor, marksmanship trainer. Bakari briefly worked as a corrections officer in Wilmington, North Carolina, before fully retiring at age 39. Bakari is a committed mentor and empowerment speaker with over 2 decades of experience. Bockarie. All right. My bad. He is actively involved in
Bakari.
Okay, I'm putting all kinds of emphasis on the wrong.
That's all right. I know it's not a common name in America. I get it.
See, and when I talk to him, I just say, "Hey, my brother." See, so I don't always
talk. That's it all day. That'll do too.
So, but he's actively involved in New Game Movement mentoring program and the 5,000 role models of excellent Broward County public schools. His work extends to juvenile detention centers, where he speaks to the youth, and the RISE program in Memphis, Tennessee, where he mentors middle school students. This brother be busy. And as a serial entrepreneur, Bockarie is the CEO of Synergistic Property Solutions, Alkebalon Lifestyle, and Sky Legacy Financial Services. Each of these ventures aligns with his commitment to community service and empowerment. Synergistic Property Solutions is a real estate investment company. Alkebalon Lifestyle offers African clothing and wellness products, while Sky Legacy Financial Services aims to eradicate poverty by providing financial education tools for family security. Moreover, Bakari is the founder of Iwa Pele Movement, which promotes spiritual, physical, and financial wellness. All right, my brother.
Yes.
Damn, brother, that's a lot. You do all of that? You gotta be tired every day.
Yeah, so some of it is former, but
all right.
A community servant, that's still present. That's just my background of a lot of work that I put in the community, so people can know I'm not just out here talking. Like, I actually put in the work. As the young people say, where the receipts at, right?
Right. I heard that.
People, they want to know the receipts. So, that's my background, man. Of putting in the work in the community, which I'm humbled and honored to do so, being that I used to be a minister of society. I used to be in the streets when I was younger, and
I definitely want to talk about all of that. Definitely want to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Definitely glad to have you here tonight. Tell your story, man, because you are a success story, brother. I mean, from where you came from to where you are now, definitely somebody that we should hold up in our communities and as an example, So definitely want to talk about it, So tell us about who you are. Know you got a beautiful wife as well. Tell us a bit about her, y'all's connection here, and just start your story, man. So you start from the beginning, where you were, because I know, like, for me, the beginning was basically. I talk about, man, I was born on the I was almost born on the freaking altar, in church.
Yeah, that's definitely not my story at all.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So let's talk about it. So where you started at. So take us from
Sure.
beginning to basically working up to you preaching, being a bishop, and then
Mhm.
all the way to where you are, what you are now, and talking about some stuff that you're doing now. So let's get rolling with it.
All right, man. I appreciate the opportunity from my beautiful Queen Amani Jambora and I, being that we do ministry together. We want to give you thanks for bringing us on your wonderful platform and to be able to serve. And I'm a native of Rochester, New York. That's where I was born and raised at. And I'm from the inner city. And my mother, she was raised in the Christian faith. And my mother was the one who gave me the introductory to prayer. It gave me the introductory to the Bible, right?
Okay.
So my mother was the one who actually reared me up in the church. Additionally, my grandmother, she ended up becoming a convert of Christianity. And I used to go to church with them growing up. And I went to vacation Bible school. I always enjoyed myself. I was very fortunate because the Sunday school teachers there that I grew up, who was teaching us, man, I had a blast. I never had a problem with going to the temple, because of that reason. And I enjoyed my friends and I enjoyed the fellowship, man. It was sweet, man. So I was very fortunate to have had a wonderful fellowship experience. Not to say that I didn't have any sour encounters, because I did as I got older.
Okay.
However, that's pretty much my backdrop, man. When I was younger, I seen things, and then when I say seen things, meaning I seen things spiritually. I'm gonna give a little bit more detail about that. I had dreams, I had visions. I seen people's aura, I seen people's countenance change. I actually interacted with the spiritual world. My grandmother, my great grandmother, rather, when she transitioned, I actually seen her. She actually came and visited us. And to come to find out later, when the adults and all of us started communicating, like my grandmother, we had visitations. They had visitations from her too. So I experienced a lot of things when I was younger, man. I had got hit by a car by a drunk driver when I was like roughly around 5 years old. I'll never forget that the axle was getting ready to hit me in my head, and I seen a real bright light, and my body got snatched from up under the car. And I seen this entity when I came to, in a white robe. Some would say an angel. My spiritual background, we say protect the spirits on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm spiritual, but just to be able to relate to those who don't know what that means, I seen this protecting spirit, there. And this protecting spirit touched me, said it was going to be all right. The whole time, I didn't even know my leg was broken. I couldn't even feel that, you know,
Okay.
so that was my experience, man, and actually seeing stuff and it actually happening. Like even in my youth, dreaming, seeing stuff and it happening. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was regular to me. Like I didn't know that everybody didn't have that ability because it
Okay.
was so normal to me, you
Yeah.
know? And so later on in my life, I kept telling people when I got a little older, like I'm gonna be a preacher. I kept having dreams and seeing me stand before people and speaking, and that's what I took it as, because that was what I was most familiar with because of my church background. I
Right.
wasn't
Right.
I wasn't familiar with empowerment and speaking back
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah. And I know
I
it.
didn't take it as that. I took
Right.
it as preaching because I was always in a church setting. You know what I'm saying? So with
Yeah.
that being said, I used to tell my pastor when I was young, I was going to preach, and as I got a little older, what I'm saying, my mother, she never forced me to go to church. Even when I was a youth, as long as an adult was home and I didn't want to go, she would allow me to stay, but it was no adult supervision. Then I had to go. But that's one thing I can say about my mother. Like she never forced her faith on me. She just
Okay.
taught me how to pray. But she never made me. You see what I'm saying? Even when it
Gotcha.
came to going to the temple, you know what I'm saying? So when I got older, man,
Well,
of course,
let's talk about your so when you were saying you were growing up, you said that
mhm,
like like you said you were in the streets and stuff like that. Talk about that a
Right.
little bit. How did you reconcile? So I know you were saying that you were in church then.
Hmm.
What was your life like, and how did you reconcile that religiously and living your life at that time, at that point? So tell us a little bit about that as you were coming up.
That's a good question. For myself, man, what happened, like I said, my mother, she never made me go. My mother eventually ended up, leaving the church. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I no longer went,
Hmm.
so when I was younger, at one time, gangster rap didn't exist.
Hmm.
Then gangster rap came into being. I'm 47 years old. I just turned 47.
Hmm.
And so what happened was that influenced me, as a teenager, right? So,
Hmm.
I seen a lot of the drug dealers and stuff around the way getting the money. We was on welfare. I grew up, like I said, in the inner city. And here comes the crime and all that in our neighborhoods. And now you have the gangster life. Now you got the hustler life, right? You got the jewelry, you got the clothes, you got the cars and the ladies, and what I'm saying. So I was infatuated with that life. I didn't really do it because I had to. I don't believe in inflating my story. I did
Hmm.
it because unfortunately my spirit wasn't in the right place. I had loved the fast life. What I'm saying. I had my friends got involved in it. What I'm saying. They protected me. They had my back whenever something went down. What I'm saying? So, it was like a brotherhood. What I'm saying?
Gotcha,
So I just
gotcha.
got pretty much drawn. Nobody forced me. Nobody gave me an ultimatum. None of that happened to me. What I'm saying? It
So it's
just
just
I just went with the flow. What I'm saying? I seen the money. I seen the life. That's what I wanted. You
so would you
understand?
say that like the music videos and stuff like that, you would say that those really influenced your ideal of what that life was
No
like?
doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Who were some of the
Because
people you were listening to then? So as far as that
Oh,
had the most
NWA,
influence on it?
because they were the first gangster rappers that even came out. During my era, it was the NWA, then the Ghetto Boys came out. You know what I'm saying? Then later on, you had uh Biggie come out, you had Big L, you had Biggie Smalls come out, you had Jay-Z, Nas. You understand? So, again, I'm
Mhm,
from New York, so those who are the rappers that influence me. You understand? So
mhm.
that's the way that went right there.
So what drew you? So you were saying that you didn't. There was not like a life that you had hardship necessarily that drew you to the life. What was it that just made you like
Well,
really want to get involved in
I wouldn't say it wasn't a life of hardship because we was on welfare. You
that?
understand? And I got tired of my mother telling me no.
Okay.
Like, no, she can't afford this. No, you can't get this right now. So I was trying to get to the money. I got
Hmm.
tired of being told no. And it's not that I didn't dress nice. I'm the only child. So, like I said, you know, um, I don't want to sit here and lie about that. You know what I mean? Because my mother, she made sure that I had it just the greed in me. You understand? It wasn't enough. Like I want more, and I want to change the sneakers like every day. I almost said it the New York way, every day. Yeah. But
Hey, speak
anyway,
for me.
yeah,
Speak for me.
I almost said it the New York way. But anyway, that's what it was about, man. I was just infatuated with that life, man. It was something that unfortunately, I was passionate about, and it wasn't like what some of the movies portray for in the area where I was. Not that it wasn't chaos, but we actually did look out for each other. You
Okay.
understand? Like, like they literally saved my life, man. It was times where, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And that's
Okay.
real.
So what? So
That's
what
real.
was your? So what was your life like in that? Well, so what was? I mean, tell us what was it like? So how did somebody like save your life, or what led up to these to stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, of course, you have. you know, you have different gangs and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have different sectors in the neighborhood. And in my neighborhood, the gang started for protect. You know, that's what it was about. You know what I'm saying? It was about protection. So, you know, you had certain blocks blocked off and you had a certain crew over here. So where the protection came in, that was like that right there. You know, like they tried to jump my friends. You understand? And I was going to stand there and let that happen. You know,
Okay.
so of course,
So
you know, we all
how did
started
you
going
fit
down.
in this? How did you fit in the hierarchy?
Well, you know, I was a gang leader. I ended up
Okay.
becoming a gang leader. Like me and my best friend, unfortunately, that was murdered later on in my life. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, he had his brains blown out when he was 14 years old. You know, I was 15 at the time when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't associated with anything we did when we was younger. Just, you know, it was a stick up, you know, guy that tried to rob him for his chain, you know, and he got into a fight with the guy, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he just was one of those dudes. That's the way he was built. You know, he wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he started, you know, getting the best of the guy. You know, he beat the guy, you know, down and what have you, you know what I'm saying? And before he left the scene, you know, he pulled out a gun and he shot him. He murdered him. You know,
Wow.
so that's what happened with that. And then another one of my good friends got into a shootout with an undercover cop. And he lost his life on the way to the hospital. He shot the cop. Yeah, that ended his life right there. And then me, because of who I was associated with, I was almost shot like twice point blank range. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And then I was set up at a barbershop because they found out, you know, that I was a close friend of a certain person back in our city, you know, and this
Mhm.
person was a well-known, you know, hustler in our city, big time hustler in our city, you know, and they found out, you know, that I was close to him.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
they rolled up in the barber shop and they was getting ready to kill me, but my friend brother told them not to do it. You know, because of his relationship with
Wow.
them, they didn't shoot me. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So yeah, so all those
Man.
close calls I had, you know, stuff like that right there, you know, it just my best friend got murdered, my other friend, you know, lost his life, all the close calls of me almost getting murdered. And then another time I was got shot during the drive-by, you know. So all those close calls, man, it just hit a light off, and it was like, you know, this not the way, man. It's not the way to
How long
go.
were you in that life?
Years. I was in that life for some years, man. A few years.
Okay. Okay. Now
You know what
what's
I'm
a few
saying?
years? Give me a number.
About three. About 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. So when you were what made you finally like I guess change to where you left that life? What was it? What was the catalyst that made you change?
It was this lady that walked up to my friend brother and tried to sell her baby girl's clothes to my friend brother for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then by that point, unfortunately, my mother and a couple of my aunties ended up becoming drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And
Mm-hmm.
so when I seen that lady try to sell her daughter clothes to my friend brother for drugs, I was like, this is what I'm doing. That's exactly what came to my conscience. Like, you doing this. You messing
Mm-hmm.
people's families up. That's literally what came to my conscience. And then what flashed in front of me was my family members, you know, and how drugs messed our family up. Like I ended up being given away to my grandmother. And then I had some cousins that end up being given away to my auntie. You know what I'm saying? From one auntie, which was their mother, to my other auntie. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so I had another couple cousins who went through the same thing. And I started seeing how it messed up our family, how it was messing up our neighborhoods. And I just thought about like my friends who unfortunately they started hustling and selling drugs and everything when they was young because their mothers and fathers were so hooked on the drugs to where they had to start selling. I'll never forget, one of my friends literally broke in my house, my own friend, because he was so hungry that he broke in there so he can eat, just so he can eat some food, because his mother and his father was on drugs.
You're strung
So
out.
so all of those situations started going through my consciousness, man, and I just said, I went back to a friend of mine because we both was putting in work for our friend brother. We both was doing that for our friend brother. And I said, yo, man, I said, I'm done. I can't do this no more, man. Because everything came to me, hit me all at one time. Like the times I almost got shot, my friends who lost their lives, and then the chaos that was caused by the drugs in my own family life and my friends' family life. And I couldn't see nothing good coming out of it, man. So
Right.
I let it go. I let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about, so like you were saying how you had to be given to your grandmother and stuff like that. I know how, just from my psychological background, that how that could impact you really at a deep level, because you really, on some level, did you ever feel like, first of all, how old were you when that happened? And then second, how did it make you feel? And then third, how did it impact you in your life as far as dealing with relationships and stuff like that?
Okay, I was 16 years old when I left the street life alone. I had started real young in the streets.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So how did I feel? Well, as I aforementioned, I was convicted. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a good feeling at all because I became the problem. I was that problem. I was the reason why our neighborhood was the way that it was at that time. I was the one that was contributing to other people's families,
Okay.
being ruined. You know what I'm saying? And that convicted me because of the outcome of my family due to narcotics. And so the reality is, man, I recognize like, I have to do something better, man. I have to do something better, with my life, man. And I knew that I was capable of doing better. I just had made the wrong choice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that I wasn't raised right, because I was,
Yeah.
I just chose to do the wrong thing. It's a verse that says, what profit if a man to gain the whole world and lose their soul? You know what I'm saying? And so I understand that. I understand that in this instance because I sold my soul for money.
So once you turn that corner, what happened next? So once you said, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore," what did you do after that?
Well, a recruiter came to our school, a Marine Corps recruiter came to our high school during that time. And it was like right after all those sequence of events had occurred. And so I know that he was divinely sent because that was my way out, because my family didn't have the money to send me to college. And my grades at the time, definitely academically, wasn't going to send me to college. And I wasn't into athletics at the time. I was just into getting the money. You understand? I was in the street. So with that being said, I said, I'm gonna take this opportunity for me to get out of here. And I was a sophomore during that time. And I took the opportunity, and here I am now. I went in straight out of high school. I served for 20 years. I went in 2015, and I retired in 2025.
You went out. Okay.
I mean, excuse me. I went in 1995, rather. Excuse me. I got all my numbers messed up. I know y'all like, wait a minute. I went in 1995, and I retired in 2015. I'm sorry, family.
Gotcha. So, and that's really interesting because like people say that there is no draft in the military, but when
Mhm.
it comes to a lot of times in our communities, that's just not the truth.
Yeah,
It's like you only
historically
have,
speaking.
that's just the way out for a
Mhm,
lot of young men
mhm.
in our communities. That you got to go to the military, which in a sense, I mean, you're literally leaving your homes to go to sometimes, go to a battlefield or whatever, man. That's like what a choice, that
Indeed.
you have to make, So let's talk about so your Christian life. How did that
Mhm.
start?
Well, what happened was I always went to church. As I stated, I always went to church. So um later on down the line, man, I started going because I'm like, okay, that's all I knew. That's the way I was raised. So I said, you know what, let me, start living by good morals and principles. And so I didn't go directly to be honest with you, I didn't go directly to Christianity, to tell you the truth.
Hmm.
I actually started on my path of enlightenment when I was in boot camp.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they had various services and what have you that was there, like Hinduism, Buddhism. They had Orthodox Islam, you
Hmm.
know, and they had a Protestant service. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And so my soul was searching, man. I was like, okay, let me keep searching. Let me look, let me see. You know what I'm saying? But of course, me being a Christian person, my spirit was kind of like pulling me towards that way. You
Was
know what
what
I'm
you were
saying? Because,
familiar with.
exactly, because that's what I was familiar with. So, I never forget it. I went to a Protestant service, man, and this guy was charismatic though.
Hmm.
When it came to being a Protestant, anything that felt that was not Catholic was considered to be Protestant, you know, uh,
Hmm.
in the military.
Hmm.
You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So they were like quote unquote Pentecostal, if you will. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So I'll
Carlton
never
Pearson.
forget the guy. And it surprised me because he was Caucasian. Man, I was shocked. I never seen Caucasian people charismatic like that in my life. That's the first time I ever seen a charismatic Caucasian person in my life. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So,
Okay.
everybody, was praising and, hands up and all that. And I got called out. You know what I'm saying? And, he started speaking over my life. I'm like, whoa.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, this is deep. So that stuck with me. That
Hmm.
stuck with me. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So then I actually got out of boot camp, and then I was stationed over in Okinawa, Japan. And I ended up meeting a sister who was a part of the Church of God in Christ.
Okay.
And I connected with her and I started going, to services and stuff like that. And then I started having these supernatural like encounters, like with these forces. Like I started like hearing stuff.
Hmm.
You understand?
Hmm.
And I'm like, yo, what was that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, whatever. So I just kept hearing, I heard some stuff again, I later on down the line, and this is why I'm praying and everything, so I'm like hearing stuff. So one day I went to service, man, and the next thing you know, I'm on the floor. Boom. And I'm hearing this growling noise coming out of me and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? So I actually experienced the exorcism on that day. And the thing is, though, is that I wasn't able to sleep well during that time, and I don't want to skip over nothing because I wasn't able to sleep well during that time. I was going through all this stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I had an unrest and uneasiness and stuff like that, man.
Now
And
you said you
so,
were going through all that stuff. What do you mean exactly? What stuff were you
well,
going
like
through?
I said, I was hearing things.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, I was hearing stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like these entities, I know now. You know what I'm saying? But back then, of course, you were raised, you read it in the Bible, but you like, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? But I actually experienced that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So um when she started, praying over me, right? I couldn't even talk, and so it was like telepathy, and whatever I was thinking, this woman was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I was going through this situation, I was able to hear. I still had a sense of awareness was going on around me, though. I heard everybody. I heard people praying in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So, but me, I was still going through this, and I heard this thing like it was like, I couldn't even open my eyes, man. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So, or move my mouth like that. This thing was raw, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what in the world? I'm just thinking like, I want this thing just to, whatever this is, just leave me. Like, just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm thinking in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I just want some rest. I just want some peace. But whatever I was thinking, this woman was saying.
Okay.
And in
Okay.
my mind, I was even thinking, like, how in the world, you know what I'm saying? How is this woman able to, speak my thoughts? And I'm not even saying nothing. This thing, whatever it is, growling through me, and then she's speaking what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? So,
Did
she kept,
you ever ask her or were able to talk to her about how she was able to do that?
man, I wasn't even thinking about that, bro. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like when I came to my senses, that was the last thing on my mind. What was on my mind was like, what in the world just happened to me? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
Right.
what went through my mind. You know what I'm saying? So, eventually, that entity, that force, loosed this hold on me, man. And honestly, that's what made me believe in Jesus. It wasn't just because I was raised a Christian anymore. I just said that I was a Christian, you know what I'm saying? But when that happened, that's when I actually converted to Christianity. Like that's
Okay.
when I became a disciple of Jesus, you know what I'm saying, that day. Like I was like, this thing is real. You
Gotcha.
understand? Like this
Gotcha.
invoking this Jesus name thing or exorcism and the demons. How could I doubt it when it happened to me?
Okay.
You
Okay.
understand? So
Yeah.
that's the reason why my faith was so strong in what I believed in. It wasn't no longer because I just said it because that's the way I was raised. It was because of what happened. You
Some
see what I'm saying?
experience that you had.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So from that point
But
on,
what
man,
if,
like I came to myself. There was a peace that when that happened, I felt this energy. I felt energy. You know what I'm saying? I felt the power. I felt this peace and everything come over me and whatnot, man. You know what I'm saying? And so next thing I know, man, I'm preaching the gospel, man. I'm it's like straight away, I started preaching. I was 20 years old. You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Was
And I
that when
knew
you in
like,
Japan then or you back stateside?
no, I was still in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still in Japan, man, and I had experienced like I was standing, I was in the choir singing and stuff like that, man, and I experienced like the power just hit me, boom. Next thing you know, I just started dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like my feet just took off. So I was like, "What in the world?" You know what I'm saying? It just boom. I started dancing, man. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And it was funny, cause my friends they was like, "Yo, we know you used to dance in the club, didn't you?" They said I was doing the MC Hammer. But anyway,
Can't touch this.
bro, that's a true story. They told me I was doing the hammer. I lie not, man. I lie not. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I would have loved to seen that.
Bruh, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, they hit me out. Hey, it just happened, man. So,
So
I started,
how do
I
you
started, I started reading the Bible and stuff like that, man. And I started having like spiritual things happen. Like I'm gonna explain what I like. The Bible would be like open, and I would be praying, but I wasn't even reading it. And I would be praying what is written on in the scriptures.
mm-hmm.
And I open my eyes and I look, and I'm like, what in the world? You know what I'm saying? I was just praying what was there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so then I will have, uh prophetic moment, like being used like in that area, man. Just start telling people stuff, and they looking at me like, how you know that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, the spirit told me,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't even trying. You know what I'm saying? And so I kept feeling this pull for me to preach, for me to preach, for me to preach. And I was like, okay, well, spirit, is this
Just right quick. How do you reconcile that now?
what you mean? How do I reconcile it?
So as far as and I know in the context of religion, when we're in that, we assume that everything that's happening is because we're connected to Jesus or connected to that religion in some kind of way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you now that you're out of that,
Mm-hmm.
how do you reconcile or how do you look at what was happening to you back then? How do you explain it? Or can you explain it?
Well, the truth of the matter is, man, only thing I know is that, it's like any other belief system. You know what I'm saying? There's always a force connected to these belief systems. Whether you are Hindu, because they have the same type of experiences. Those who
Yep.
practice Hinduism
Yep.
experience. If you watch a service with a guru or whatever, their priests, they have the same. Even in voodoo, they have the same type of the power and the
Yep.
quickenings, if you will. So I recognize that there's an entity connected to these various systems. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. And that's
that's what
where
I recognize.
yeah, and that's where and that's where I a lot of times I'm talking to people who of course are coming out of Christianity that they have experiences while they're in Christianity, but a lot of times we think it's only limited to that we are Christian or that we were with Jesus, but a lot
Mhm,
of times it's just simply a natural aspect of us that we
mhm,
start to label
mhm,
a certain way. So a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Christian, they can all have the same type experiences because it's just a lot of times it really is a natural spiritual experience. But in Christianity, we're taught that it's the only reason we have it is because we were Christian. When that just isn't the case. And this again, this is just so not speaking to you specifically, but
mhm,
just saying I know a lot of people that they only think that their spiritual experience is because of Christianity,
mhm.
you
Yeah,
know.
and I understand because,
So
of course,
what
it's
I'm
all
what
about
I'm
what you're
hearing you
exposed
say,
to.
what's that now?
I said I understand because I understand that we only know what we're taught. We only know what we're exposed to. You
Yes,
know what I'm
yes.
saying? So I didn't know
We were
that
given
either.
a
Exactly.
frame to experience and believe everything in. And
Yes, my
we
wife
think if
said
we
the
leave
Kundalini energy. They call
okay,
it the
okay.
Kundalini energy, and that's exactly right for the Hinduism side. But that's what happened, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, I even prayed for people and they were instantly healed. You know what I'm saying? So one thing about me is I'm not a person that just read the Bible. No, I actually lived what I was reading. And that's the reason why that I was actually getting ready to be ordained an apostle before
And what
I
does that mean? So explain
well
that.
sent forth, a Greek word which is sent forth. You got the apostles that's mentioned in the New Testament, and also that the Greek word, that's all it means. It just means sent forth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
signs, wonders, and miracles followed those men, that were, of course, disciples of Yeshua that were chosen, the 12, if you will. And then according to the story, after he left, you had more that was, chosen to, operate and to go forth and to
yeah.
evangelize certain areas and to set up churches. And that's really what the difference is, what I'm saying, between like an evangelist just goes around and preach the gospel, but an apostle goes around, preach the gospel, but they establish temples there. You know what I'm saying? In these
And now
different
you're saying
geographical.
they who established temples? Are you saying the organization you were with? Or are you talking about historically speaking?
Well, I mean, biblically speaking, more so than historically. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to give the history of it in the church, Church of the Lord
No,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
I was just trying to get a frame for what you were talking about, because you were saying they, so I didn't know if you were talking about the organization because you were saying that you were getting ready to be made an apostle, and so
Right.
I was just trying to get a
Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah,
understanding
yeah.
for
My
it.
my fault. My fault. I got you. I follow you. You know, so yeah, it was the organization that I was a part of. Yes, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So that's who it was. You know, to be frank with you, before they wanted to ordain me as that, a lot of people they just called me that. You know what I'm saying? Because apostle, to be specific. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because of the signs, the wonders, the miracles, the prophecy, you know, the healings. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people was literally testifying, man, like telling people like, yo, this man right here prayed for me and this happened. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Or people would, you know, come up in the prayer line and I didn't even know these people. You know what I'm saying? And laying hands on these people, man, and healings and just me like being using with, you know, now of course in E5 they say divination. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you getting a word from this high power, man, and you know I'm telling these people stuff. And I you see the thing is that the thing is with me, that's how I was able to discern fake seers from real ones, because I actually have the gift. Even to this day, I still function in that
Right.
gift, you know,
I
as a
can
seer.
imagine.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I never had to try and read. You know, it's real popular in the African church. Oh well, am I right? Am I talking to the right person? All this other foolishness. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I wasn't one of them people, man. It wasn't no lines and $5 and 20. I never did that. Never, ever, ever. Nobody had to ever pay me for me to give them a word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always just spoke under the unction of the divine. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
anyway, um,
And
that's
then, and
why.
you know what's interesting, Bakari, is that you're able to discern, or you when you left the church, the gifts that you had didn't leave. You know, you didn't feel like you left those behind, because I know so many people, they have these gifts of what they call prophecy in the church and stuff like that, healing. But what I've recognized from my studies and stuff is that these are expressions from a soul level
Mhm,
that you're literally connecting to, you know.
mhm,
And again, we get the frame that it's only because of the church or the religion that we're in, but your soul is not contained by any religion.
mhm,
So it's interesting to me, how are you able to like bridge that to where you still, because you're saying, because and that's what I was going to ask you, are
mhm.
you still able to do those things? How are you able to bridge that?
Well, when I'm gonna be very specific, when I said that, like I said, as far as the seer side, you know, just speaking those words and you know, under the unction of the divine, you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. You know, now it's more so bringing words of healing for inner healing, more so than it is physical healing. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying?
Uh-huh.
Um, you know, there's like a verse that says, heal the brokenhearted. You know what I'm saying? So now it's more so flowing in the realm of a healer and helping people to heal from their trauma, you
Mm-hmm.
know, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That's more so where I function at now. You know what I'm saying? Because when you walk in this path, what I understand, and how I see it, everybody's life path is different. Some people
Mm-hmm.
operate in the Reiki, you know, they still, you know, use their energy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But far as
Mm-hmm.
my capacity, you know, now I speak into people's lives more
Mm-hmm.
so and speak
The
words
gift
that
of
will
wisdom.
bring, there you go, words that will bring about, you know, healing in their life, you know, to where it's them healing themselves and not me healing them.
Yes. You just
It's
opening the
you
space.
know what I'm saying? There you
Yeah.
go. It's them healing themselves, because see, that's how I healed thyself. And that's what happened to me. I healed myself by me letting go of man-made doctrines and dishes and commandments that had me mentally incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I want to get to this because I wasn't happy, because there was always a wrestle inside of me, wrestle with those teachings. You know, and when I say those teachings, I'm talking about oh, women can't speak. And I never believed that. I never believed a woman couldn't talk, and like, oh, a woman, she going to hell because her toe showing, and oh, she got on fingernail. Man, it was certain stuff I could never subscribe. And it was just a bunch of bondage, like, oh, you can't listen to love songs. And I'm like, wait a minute, if God is love, then what's the problem with a romantic, like Luther Vandross singing, wait a minute, what is it? A cherish
Forever, for always, and for love.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? A house is not a home, and like Music Soul Child talking about love. I'm like, come on, man. Are you serious right now? Like, it was just too extreme, man. And people, oh, don't go to the movies. And man, they just got so outrageous. And then I seen people just, unfortunately, monetizing people, like just lying to people, you know what I'm saying, just to get money, you know what I'm saying, like
exploiting them.
Yeah, bro. I actually seen people, like, this preacher came and preached, but he kept calling out the same woman. You understand? And then, right, whenever somebody wanted to come talk to one of my leaders, that this ministry I was a part of, he always asked them, do they have an offering? You know what I'm saying? Then the same person talking about women can't speak, but his wife was in the pulpit preaching. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I said, wait a minute, man, this stuff is getting out of control, man. You know what I'm saying? And you got the $5 line, the $20 line, and all this. I said, this is a bunch of foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was leading people to man rather than the one who created them.
So let's back up there. So was this when you were like, or when you was this in the organization that you were the bishop in, or was it before?
No, not at all. This was prior to. This was my early years in the ministry. Now, the one that I was a part of, I never went through those type of things with them. You know what I'm saying? I never went through those type of things with them. What I had to do was give back my license because I had renounced the faith. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, oh, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? No, you got to send that back.
So let's talk about what led up to that. So you were healing people, and you were using your gifts. So what led you to what led you up to that point to where you renounced your faith?
So what happened was my cousin, Brother Yusuf, he's the minister of New Life Tools, and he came to me with Aset, Asar, and Haru, the Kemetic teaching, the original, if you want to say Trinity, I mean, for lack of a better term. And he started talking to me about the history of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And I had never heard about the history of the Bible before in my life. You understand? So when I first heard it now, I was like, what? Man, what is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Because he was raised in the church too. Now, mind you, my cousin was an upcoming preacher. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So him and I, we hadn't communicated for a while. You know what I'm saying? Had an extensive dialogue because I was just, when I used to come, I seen him, but I had went back home in so long. But anyway, he came to me with that information. And he was like, hey, man, this is what this is. I said Haru, Asar, and I'm like, he's like, hey, man, this is the history of, and I just listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait a minute now, you talking about the Ankh? Wait a minute, that's the devil. That's Satan, and because it was African.
You was listening with your Christian mind.
Satan, the Lord rebuke you. I lined up, man. I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, you're not sending my soul to hell. I mean, for real, like, I was serious, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't playing. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. When you start talking about the Ankh is not this. I said, because I had a Christian mind, man. Like, I was really sold out, for my faith. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was, man, after that dialogue, it wasn't over. The dialogue was over, but what was going through my consciousness wasn't over.
He planted a seed.
Yeah. And so, some time later, man, I lied not to you, man. It was actually a couple years later. It wasn't like the next month,
No, I got you. And that's usually the way it is.
it was a
It's
couple
not something
years
that
later.
happens overnight.
And so, man, I just kept feeling this pull, like something not right. Like, I seen people pray in the name of Jesus and something would happen. And then I would pray in the name of Jesus, something happened. Then I would pray and nothing would happen. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, wait a minute. I thought that whatsoever we pray for in the name is supposed to be done. So that started to get me questioning stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then, just the way people was acting, like, all this hooping and God, and people going, I'm like, what is he saying? What is she saying? Like, it was a circus, man. It was I'm just going to be honest with you, bro. It was a circus. You know what I'm saying? And people was pointing people more to them than they were the one that created them. And I had a big problem with that. You know what I'm saying? I started seeing the phoniness and all this other stuff, man. And I'm like, man, yo, look, I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Y'all talking about tithing, and stuff like that. And then what happened was I was on duty one day. And this brother who claimed to be a Hebrew Israelite, he started talking to me because he found out, I was a preacher. You know what I'm saying? He was like, what's that you reading? You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, it's the Bible. He's like, I see you. You over here, in the scriptures, looking up, this and that, right? And he's like, what's your view about tithing? I said, well, we're supposed to give a 10th for the 10th, and that's where it started. He was like, brother, he said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He said, but you've been taught wrong. He said the tithe is only for the Levite. I said, what? He said, yeah, man. And then he took me to the scriptures and showed me where it was just in black and white that the tithe was supposed to go to the Levite. And I'm like,
now what's the Levites?
The priests, the Levitical priests in
right.
The Old Testament, the Levites. Who the tribe of Levi. The Levites were, the came from, the Aaron was a part of the Levites. You know what I'm saying? So his sons, according to the Bible, was chosen to be the priests, and was only Aaron's sons. You know what I'm saying? So, and then in Malachi chapter number 1, it says, to the house, the word of the Lord to the prophet Malachi, to the house of Israel. And so I started studying the tithe and started seeing how they stored up the oil, the grain, and I seen it was never money. I'm like, what? I said, all this time. And then later on, I went to another study with them, and they said how the Christians, they misinterpret the virgin birth, and that's wrong. And I went and I read that whole chapter. I said, what? I said, yo, all this time. We've been
it's crazy because a lot of times we're taught stories that are really not biblical. They'll string together a whole lot of ideas, but when you read the Bible, they're not biblical at all. Even the nativity scene, the story of Jesus and the birth and stuff. They got 4 different stories in the Gospels. We're taught this one story that they just like make up the one story that we hear all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing how you said that, because that's what I found out too. I seen the contradictions. Like, there's the one verse where it says that Paul said, I say not the Lord. And I was like, wait a minute. So if all scripture is given by the inspiration of God, and epistle means letter, which is a writing. So, and he just said, I'm saying this, which means that the Most High didn't say this. He's saying this out of his own emotion and feelings. And he said that in more than one situation, I am telling you this. And I said, okay. Then he said in one breath, oh, let the women prophesy. But then in another breath, he said, let them be quiet. Now, anybody know anything about prophecy, you know it's an oral gift, it's a vocal gift.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
how can they prophesy being quiet? You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Right.
you know,
Right.
it's like an oxymoron. One breath, oh, let the women prophesy, let them speak, let them, you know, speak with their head covered. Then, oh, let the women be quiet. They need to be silent. They need to learn at home and all this. I'm like, okay, now this is not coming together to me, because like even the book of Proverbs, it says, you know, don't despise your mother's teaching. And then in Proverbs chapter number 31, it talks about King Lemuel being taught by his mother. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm like, this is not coming together. Like this stuff is, and then there's another verse said these things are allegories. I said, those are stories. So, you
Yes.
know, when
So Galatians, is it Galatians 4:23? I think.
somewhere along, because it's been a
I
minute,
think
man.
it's in Galatians.
But,
I forget the specific
yeah,
verse,
but
but
you know what I'm
it
talking about.
says
So
these are
yeah,
allegory.
so when I seen that, man, I seen how the virgin birth, it actually wasn't what the Christians make it. It was actually a word of prophecy, according to the story, a word of prophecy to King Ahaz. It was supposed to be a sign to him that he was supposed to be able to do something during that time. It wasn't what the Christians make it, like in the book of Matthew. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You know,
Right.
so I'm like, I said, this is crazy. So, you know,
Yeah.
I personally, man,
And you
this is the
know,
way I
Ahaz
am.
is just another
I don't
name
try
for
to,
Asar. Ahaz is just another name for Asar.
oh, okay. You know, when I hear these things, man, I'm like, okay, you know what? I said, I see it. I know what it is now. I can't teach this stuff no more. I said, I see the lies, and when, especially when I studied the history, let me touch on that. When I studied the history and I found out that colonization, they forced it on us. And then I found out what my actual bona fide ethnicity is, that I'm Mende, and my ancestors came over here on this ship called Amistad, which the movie Amistad is based on my people who came from Sierra Leone. You understand what I'm saying? When I found out, you know, that our actual spiritual system, like we never practiced, like they forced that on us. I'm like, oh no, 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 I'm out.
No, and see, and
I'm out.
you started once you start to study Christianity, the history of how it came to be, you start to look at the contradictions and stuff like that. It just does not hold up to scrutiny. None of it does. And the only way we stay Christian is because we have the faith and we never questioned anything. But once you start to studying it, it absolutely makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's actually what happened to me, man. I'm not emotional like that. Even though I prayed in that name, it still don't negate the fact that what happened happened.
Right?
It still don't negate the fact that I seen contradictions. It still don't negate the fact that religion was forced on us. And unfortunately, some people are so emotional about their experience that they overlook the facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
They overlook
Yeah.
the
Don't
facts.
even care about the facts.
I
And
care about the facts.
they wanna act like faith is facts. And they don't equate. Just because they believe it doesn't make it true. But that's a lot of times what happens. And even like you went back, like you talked about the tithing and stuff like that. So all of that stuff, Bakari, it was the same for me. I had a lot of those same questions, but I started to recognize that there was some metaphysical principles that were actually being taught that should have been taught that we weren't. And even like the idea of tithing, there is a universal law that is actually supposed to access, you know, where it's the idea that of course that the creator has all, okay, but in order for us to signal the creator for what we want as far as given to us or brought into our experience, we have to signal, and that simply means that we're going to give a small percentage, or I like to call it priming the pump. You know, where we used to, the old pumps, you know, we had to pour a little water in the suction valve to prime it so we could bring up more water. Priming the pump is essentially, that's what tithing is supposed to mean, is that you're signaling to the universe by giving a little of what you have so the universe can bring you back more. But of course, within Christianity, we're taught that you know, if you don't give, you're going to go to hell. You know, you're stealing from God if you don't do this. You know, we have all of this guilt and fear surrounding an idea that is supposed to bring us abundance, but it ends up making us live in poverty.
Absolutely, man. And that's the thing right there, man, is that it's not benefiting our people at all. You know, they keep, and what I recognize is, every matter of fact, when people actually read the Bible very closely, they will see, and I'll challenge anybody that's out here, anybody who claim to be a Bible scholar. I'll challenge anybody. You know what I'm saying? One thing I recognize is that this deity in the Bible was always talking to the house of Israel. No one can debunk that. The prophets always went to the children of Israel. Okay? You know what I'm saying? All the prophets, whenever, who did Moses go? Who was Moses talking to? The house of Israel. You understand? Who? Okay, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, all of them always gave the messages to the house of Israel, or unless they was in bondage, and they will bring a word from their God, their deity that they acknowledge as their God, and would say, this God told them to let the people go, or this is going to happen to you if you don't let our people go.
Yeah.
But whenever it was about, oh, you breaking the laws, you breaking the commandments, it was never to the world. No one can debunk that. It was never to the world. It was always to the children of Israel. Oh, you've left my commandments. You've abandoned me. You turned to, you know, these wicked nations' ways, to return back to the law. It was always the prophets talking to the Israelites. It was never to the world. It was never to the masses. So what did
that say? What did that say for you? I mean, what did that so bring that together for us? What did that mean for you?
Like I said, it's for the Hebrews.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm just being honest, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not my book. You understand? And let me just say this, let me just be honest, man. I don't care if, say for instance, I was one. I'm not taking, see, that Christian foolishness is broken off of me. I don't just believe something just because somebody say it. You understand? That's what get them caught up in stuff. Oh, thus saith the Lord. Oh, he said, the Lord said, so what? You know what I'm saying? So what? I don't care if you co-sign it with the Lord, with God. You understand? That don't move me. You understand?
Right.
I can discern man-made foolishness from the divine, because what I notice is the teachings of man never make sense. It never makes sense. It never, if you listen to man's teaching, you will never evolve.
To religious teachings, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The divine cannot be limited to a script. I don't care, even if people say that's spiritual, you still cannot limit the spiritual realm to a script. Now, there is spiritual directions that if you don't follow it, if you're trying to conjure a thing, okay, and if you don't do it by the instruction, just like if you get instructions and you're trying to build something, if you don't follow it, then it won't work. So of course there's certain spiritual things, magical things that if you don't follow the recipe, you know what I'm saying, then it won't work for you. So I get that part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. but my life is no longer governed by, you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, the script says this, the Quran says this, the Bible says, see, I'm not with these man-made scripts. I live by moral principles, period. I
Yeah.
live
And you
by
know,
what I know is right and what I know is wrong. And I live my life by my own terms. I am that I am. I am God. I am not the God, okay, the one that created the universe and all things, you know, the supreme creator. I'm not the, but I'm a. You
yes,
understand? And I
you
can
are a
speak
spark.
things. I could create things. You understand? I have creative power. We all are creators. We're not the
Yes.
supreme creator, but we are all creators in our own right.
On this
And
plane
that's
of
what,
existence.
go ahead, bro, because I know you're ready to let loose too. Go ahead.
No, no, no.
Go ahead, man. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I'm in agreement with you that because that's to me that's what a lot of times when people are following the rules or following the scripts or the scriptures, they follow rules to where they can abdicate responsibility for their own actions and their own thoughts, and how they interact with the world, because it gives you an excuse, really, a lot of times with from and I talk specifically about Christianity because that's what I've experienced in my life. But I know from a Christian perspective that following the scriptures gives you the ability to hate others because they're not like you or they don't think like you or believe like you. So following scriptures basically allows you to abdicate your responsibility, your own
Mm-hmm.
personal responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
for your life,
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's right.
in that sense, no, I don't. I stopped following the rules that they made and started exercising principles in my life, and that's what I do with the Kemetic science. They are principles that the universe is based on,
Mm-hmm.
and absolute principle that I follow is that we are all from one source. So if we're all from that one source and all a spark of that one source, then we all have a right to be as we are,
Hmm.
you know?
I do.
So
Matter of
so
fact, go ahead,
go
bro.
ahead.
Okay, I did a study and I watched videos, and I'm glad you said that when you said we came from one source. And spirit led me, you know what I'm saying, to do this research, to do this study on the afterlife and those who survived and came back. Well, according to Christian doctrine, you know, these people would go to this place called hell. But
Right.
what I've come to find, I've heard a homosexual talk about them seeing a bright light and them going to the light and feeling love and seeing their
Yes.
ancestors. And I've heard a person who, you know what I'm saying, said they hated other Caucasian. They hated Caucasian people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this man, he said, I left my body. You know what I felt? I felt love. I felt light. I seen my ancestor. So all these people from different walks of life and different mindsets all seen the same thing and experienced the same thing. They went out
Yeah.
their body. They seen their body. They looked at their body. They seen everything in the room. They experienced everything, and they went back and they told the doctors. And these doctors who actually verified the death of these individuals, saying yes, they flatlined, and they said it blew their mind that these people were able to tell them everything that they seen when they know that they died.
They were still conscious even after their body.
Exactly. And they was
Yes.
outside of the body. They said I was energy, I was light, you know, and things of this nature. So what I'm saying is that the divine even allowed these people to live to tell us what's on the other side so we don't have to fear when we leave our bodies.
Right.
Man,
Right.
I may not be in church no more, but I wanted to run on that one.
Yeah. Woo!
Yes, sir. I wanted to run
Absolutely.
on that one, brother. I promise you I
No,
did. I wanted
and
to take off.
I've studied the same stuff, man, and there's so many videos even on YouTube where they're talking about afterlife or after death
Yes,
experiences and stuff like that.
exactly, man.
If anybody, I
Exactly.
don't know if you ever read, and this is stuff where I needed the science on this stuff. And there was a gentleman. There's a book called
My wife said, "Run on, brother."
what's that? Yeah, right. That's the one of the books that I read and studied was by Michael Newton. And it was, and I forget the name of the book right now, but he did studies like for thousands of people that he literally he hypnotized, and he was able to take them in the life between lives, and he got a construct of what it was like when a soul left the body, different things. And if anybody wants to get an idea, watch the Disney movie called Soul. Watch the Disney movie called Soul, because somebody knew the real stuff about these ideas. So a lot of that stuff, the way that they put it in a cartoon or animated film, but they were talking about, and they confirmed a lot of the stuff that I was studying. But no hell, man. I mean, it really doesn't even make sense, Bakari, because if you think about, and I go back to the ancient teachings with this, is the idea of correspondence, and the ancients, we know this idea as above, so below, and the ancients would basically, what the idea of correspondence was, is that you can glean some evidence or an idea about what something is like in the spiritual world from something that's in the physical world, because everything in the physical world is simply a symbol of whatever is spiritual. So it's just the spirit world manifested. So it has to exist in the physical world in order for it to exist in some kind of way in the spiritual world, and vice versa. Now, I know in Texas in the summer it does get hot as hell, but there ain't no place that we go to and we going to burn for eternity. It just doesn't compute. And when you really start to study these ideas, you don't fear that kind of crap anymore, because all they did was just feed us crap and fed us fear to keep us locked into these ideas that we knew in our spirit contradicted everything. It assaulted our soul. But because of the fear, we stayed in it.
I personally even experienced, what one would call like astral projecting. You know what I'm saying? I even experienced that, man. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of my body and looking at myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My wife, she can testify to this. When I had, a near-death experience, like feeling like I was getting ready to leave. I literally fell out, man. I was standing up. I blacked out. I didn't know what happened. My wife ended up calling, the doctors, well, not the doctors, but the ambulance, 911. And when I was down on the ground, man, I felt nothing but peace.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't see any demons waiting for me.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's one thing I want to talk about too, is dealing with the spiritual realm. When I started doing ancestor veneration, my ancestors came and visited me. And nothing that Christians said will happen to me happened. Oh, you're going to be possessed. Oh, you're going to be cursed. In fact, my wife and I built a 6-figure business since the time I've been spiritual. We started multiple businesses. I'm a real estate investor, life insurance advisor. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the e-commerce space with my wife, which yielded a 6-figure. We built together over $1 million network. But you know what they say? Oh, the wealth of the wicked. Oh, the wealth. No, we didn't do anything wicked for us to get what we have. You know what I'm saying? So I've learned that, what I'm saying, that's a religious construct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rain upon the just as well as the unjust. They'll try to get you to, if you become a Christian, your whole world will get better. No. You in this life, you're going to have tribulations And spirituality, the only thing it do is help you go through the trials. It doesn't help you to avoid. Wisdom help you to avoid certain things, because sometimes we put ourselves in certain positions because we make bad choices. So
Right.
if that situation is hellish, you must be the devil then, because that was your choice that put you in that situation. You know, you
Yeah.
chose not to pay your rent and put your money in the offering plate. You chose not to pay on your car note, and then your car is getting repossessed. You understand? You know, and
Right.
so you know, they put all this stuff on the devil when really it's the lack of wisdom.
Yep.
It's the lack
Yep.
of wisdom. It's not the devil. It's unfortunately your lack of wisdom. You know, you not managing your money right. It's not you suffering for Jesus. It's not a generational curse. It's not a curse with a, no, you're not going to be cursed with a curse if you don't give a tithe to these liars. You understand?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
been cursed at all. In fact, I've been more blessed. In fact, that 10% help us to that's that 10% help us to keep our lights on, to keep the car note, you know, paid like it's supposed to have been paid. So if
Right.
anything, we got more blessed because we start using our money right. I just
Right.
want to say that.
Yeah. No, for real. For real. And that's the thing is you just get and that was one of the things that really made me start to like investigating a lot of the metaphysical aspects of what I was taught in Christianity, because one of the things that really kind of sent me over the edge was this idea of prayer, and how we were told as Christians that if Christians get their prayers answered. At least that's kind of what I was taught. Is like, as long as you're a Christian, your prayers will get answered, and everybody else, God is going to put them like second or last or whatever. Well, what was happening in my life, it wasn't going that way. So I'm like, well, how can somebody who's a sinner, who I knew somebody that was doing wrong, they were doing pretty well in their life. But somebody who was like supposed to be praying, doing the right stuff, things
Broke,
wasn't going right. I'm like,
broke,
this something ain't adding up.
broke. Those some miserable people. They always on the, oh Lord, please save us. Oh Lord, please deliver us. Oh Lord. But you know, it's amazing how Shaka Zulu, how they didn't have that religion and they defeated their enemy.
Right, right,
It's amazing how over in Haiti, Toussaint Louverture and the rest of them who they was voodoo practices, how they defeated their enemy.
right, right.
I'm just saying. But most religious people, they're on their knees waiting for the Savior to come save, but they don't want to deal with the reality that this person that was
Wait,
supposed to save you from your sins could not even deliver you from getting bombed in the church when you was on your knees praying.
right.
Where was this Savior at then? Where was this
Yeah,
Savior? Now I'm just saying now.
yeah.
Because see, in our spirituality, there is no concept of a savior coming to deliver you. Why is it that y'all can say and do whatever y'all want to, and as long as you say, "Oh God, forgive me," you forgive me? In African spirituality, that don't exist.
Right,
You're going to
right.
reap what you sow. There's no atonement for the wrong that you've done, except for you going to the person and asking them to forgive you for what you did, and then you
Hmm.
won't suffer that karma.
Right, right.
Then it's none of this hide behind the cross. No,
Right.
you got to do for self. And that's
It's
our
about
problem. We
personal
keep
responsibility.
waiting for this fictitious like Superman and Batman, to come out the sky from somewhere and rescue us when we got the power to do it ourselves. You
Yeah.
understand? And so that's what I'm trying to say right there, man. We have to do for self. Now
And
we do need some super on our natural. Now I've been in some situations, like I said before, I know it's divine. Where I almost got shot up a couple times, and I went to Iraq and almost got blown up a few times. Okay,
yeah.
so I believe in divine intervention. Don't get me wrong. I believe in that. But what I'm saying is A miracle is that which you could not do for yourself. What you could not do for yourself. Whatever you can do for yourself, you need to do that. Why are you looking for a harvest and you didn't sow no seed? And that's the problem. And Christians don't understand that. That's why they don't understand why we look at them like they're crazy. You didn't sow no seed, but you thinking a check coming in the mail. Why? Because these lying evangelists want your money. Oh, just sow the seed. Oh, I'm gonna send you some miracle water. You done bathed in this water and you still broke. You bathed in this water, but you still broke.
Because
And
it's
it's
still a
because
mindset that you have.
a man don't work, they don't eat. You
Yeah.
still waiting for this job. Oh, I gave the man of God my last. I gave him, your lights just don't went out. Oh, Satan, the Lord rebuke you. No. You need to rebuke yourself and get your mind right, because you sitting in the dark because you ain't paying an electric bill.
Yeah, and this is the thing is you know, and you know, we all go through those things because, you know, we have to understand too that a lot of times people are educated in a way that it's really we can't necessarily, well, I won't say we can't hold them at fault because everybody's responsible for their experience ultimately. But there's a lot of times the way that we're taught, we're unable to break that frame. So we keep thinking and repeating the same mistakes that our parents did, you know, our grandparents. So we get lost and we get stuck in this way of thinking. And really a lot of times it's a poverty mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found, like with
Right.
with Kemetic spirituality and with African spirituality, the difference between those two systems is religion teaches you to make a relationship to God. And African spirituality teaches you to develop your God self.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in that sense, you have to take responsibility. But there's also a lot of science. When I call science, and what I mean by a science is that it's something that is you can make a hypothesis, you can experiment, it's repeatable, and then you can, if something doesn't work, then you can look at it, go back and say, okay, it didn't work here. What else do I need to do? So literally, there's a spiritual science that Africans had.
Yeah.
And that's what Kemetic science or Kemetic spirituality is built on. Is built on the science that is proven, you know.
Yeah.
So there's just this level of knowledge that we just, is like Stevie Wonder said, if you believe in things you don't understand, you'll
Very
suffer.
superstitious.
Very superstitious.
Writing on
And
the
that's
wall.
what religion was for us. It was just a superstition. We just believed it because mama and daddy and them said to believe it. But there was nothing, no teaching behind what except to just believe and accept these ideas. That's all it was. There was no science behind anything that could practically impact our lives on a day-to-day basis, that we knew that we could go this step, this step, this step. And that's a lot of times what African spirituality will do for you, where Christianity won't.
Yeah, it'll free your mind, because we was on the plantation and we outnumbered, you know, the colonizer, but because we had fear instilled in us.
Yeah.
You know, because
yeah.
we have been programmed to be afraid. We
Yeah.
have been programmed to believe that we were powerless.
Yep.
You know, we have been programmed to wait on this Savior that was going to come and deliver us out the hands of our enemy.
Yep.
And that's what kept us in a
And
stagnant
still
place.
wait.
And to this, there you go, brother. To this day, African, even some people who say they're supposed to be so-called conscious, they go from looking for a Eurasian savior to looking for an African savior.
Yeah.
Because when we get some money, what do? When somebody in the family gets some money, what do? We sit there and depend on this one person. Oh, my nephew is a millionaire now. Oh, my son and my they're millionaire. Sitting there like you have no power. You sitting there not putting forth no work to create for yourself.
Right.
And now you got this one family member trying to deliver a whole bunch of people who just sitting there and not being proactive, not being productive, who are not ambitious, and they're wondering why they still broke. Because
And they're
you're not
waiting on the
doing
end of the world.
anything to change your. So this is not this is not an era where we have an excuse anymore about not knowing.
Right.
It is so much financial information out here today to where if you don't know, it's because you're not seeking. And it's too many of us that still have this savior complex. We still looking for our brother and our sister to save us. We can listen, we can give you money, but you still gonna be broke. You know why? Because you haven't learned the strategy for you to be able to create and transfer wealth and to multiply. So when you go spend it, you're gonna come right back to the source and ask them for money again. Why? Because you haven't learned how to create wealth and to build wealth. You understand? And we get discouraged. Because you got
So you do
colonizer that try to stop us, and we like to use. Look at what they did. The walls. I'm not saying those things didn't happen, but I tell you what. If my wife and I had that same attitude, if so many of us who have done that, creating wealth and working towards building, wealth and to be able to leave wealth to our family, if we had that same mindset, we would have never did it. We would just sat there defeated and just, oh, well, they gonna try to fight us. Doggone it, well, we gonna have to just fight.
right.
You understand? I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Well, we just gonna have, because what if our ancestors did that, for civil rights? What if they just said, oh, we just gonna get defeated, we just gonna die, we gonna end up dying? They literally laid down their life so we can have the minuscule freedoms that we have today. What if they had that defeated attitude? We'll still be in a situation that we were in like we were back then. Not to say we're not still facing race, because we are. I'm not saying that we're not. But what I'm saying is, if you want it, you're going to have to fight for it.
Yeah.
Period. I'm not
Yeah.
telling you it's going to be easy. What I'm telling you is, if you want it, you're going to have to fight. I come off of welfare, so you're not going to play these games with me. You understand?
That makes two of us.
I came from off of welfare. I know what it is to stand in the welfare line. I know what it is to get welfare cheese and the flour and the honey. So
hey,
those
are some of the best those government cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, man. Don't try to sing that to me that you you don't understand, bro. Get out of here. I grew up in a broken family. My father told me he wanted to see me at the age of 5. My mother gave me away. Am I sitting here complaining? Did you hear me one time making an excuse about that's the reason why I'm successful? Because I didn't use that as an scapegoat for me not to be successful. Oh, what happened to my ancestors? Oh, listen, you're going to have to grind. Madam C.J. Walker did it during Black Wall Street, and they didn't even have the access we have today to things.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Keep sitting there, keep making excuses, keep whining, keep complaining? And to me, that's a religion. Oh, Lord, oh, come save us, Lord. Oh, Lord, we need you. Oh, come by here, Lord. Somebody praying, Lord, come by. Listen, Madam C.J. Walker, she got up and she got it.
Yeah.
Black Wall Street, they got up and they got it in.
Yeah.
And that's
you make some good points, man. And that's where, to me, it's always interesting, because we can even we don't take or get knowledge that we can apply, or we just get knowledge and then we don't apply it, so that's one of the things where, even in the conscious community, we've always said spread knowledge, but if you can't apply the knowledge, it's no good. So to me, it's not about spreading knowledge, it's about applying knowledge. So when you're talking about helping people, and let's take that, how would you instruct someone that might not have financial knowledge or resources? How would you help them to gain that knowledge, and then what is some advice that you would give them that to help them to kind of move forward?
Excellent question. As I aforementioned, man, it's education. It's the implementation of the information that brings about transformation in your life. That's why I was able to retire at the age of 39 years old. Yes, I was in the military. Okay. A lot of people say, oh, because no, it's because I apply financial strategies. I budgeted. Okay. I eradicated debt. Okay. It takes discipline. I'm not telling you it's going to happen overnight. I'm not one of these overnight wealth building liars out here that's trying to get your money. Okay. It's going to take you some time. You understand? But you got to learn, you apply, and then you earn. So, what I encourage you to do is to go to a channel called Earn Your Leisure. Go to Earn Your Leisure.
Good channel. I like that one.
You know what I'm saying? Go to our channel, Sky Legacy Financial Services, where I'm dropping jewels every week.
Okay. Sky.
Sky Legacy Financial Services. It's no special spelling. It's Sky is spelled SKY. Sky Legacy Financial Services. Well, that probably would be special spelling, but Sky Legacy Financial Services, LLC. You can find us on YouTube. But yeah, I challenge you because Earn Your Leisure have a lot more content than what we have. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot more people coming on talking about credit and things of that nature, how to fix your credit. So you got to learn these things, even though you can't
SkyLegacyFinancialServices.com.
Well, yeah, they can go there too. That's our website, but our content, our videos is on Sky Legacy Financial Services LLC on YouTube.
Okay. So I'm just putting this up here.
That's SKY. Yeah, there you go. That's it right there. And they can follow us there. And we will teach you, man. We don't know everything. We don't claim to know everything. You understand? But I promise you, if you learn, you apply, you start earning. That's how you start. Like my wife, she literally came from off of her job and became self-employed because she took, her 401k and she invested in herself.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
And we put that in real estate. And now, she's self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So she learned. My wife got books. She gave me books. We got books all in this house. She studied, she applied it, and we start earning. Just like we just literally got approved for our American Express Platinum business card. Now, if anybody know anything about American Express, that's their highest business card that they have. Why? Because we learned, we applied, and we earned. It's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? You have to be disciplined. You have to put your needs before your wants, and you have to learn what's important. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, that's how I was able to retire at 39. It's because I brought down my debt, I minimized my debt, and then I brought in more income. You know what I'm saying? I came up with a plan and I stuck with that plan. And I said, okay, I asked the dealership, I said, okay, how much more money do I need to put into this to this payment in order for me to be able to pay this car off in this amount of time? He sat down, did the math. I said, okay, I want to pay that amount. And so that's exactly what I did. I literally paid off my vehicle before I retired. And that gave me almost $500 a month. You understand? Because I came up with a plan. I stuck with the plan. And by the time I retired, I had all of my electronics, all of my appliances, and everything paid off. It took discipline. I had the discipline. I had to tell myself no sometimes so I could start hearing the yeses.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And what I mean is by that, sometimes we get denied because our credit bad. And that's another problem. People hook them a sign and all this stuff on the floor. Oh, God, fix my credit. Listen, that's what the problem is. Get your behind up and go see a credit repair specialist.
Yeah.
And get your credit, and then you won't get denied.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay.
So we have to learn these things and learn how to make ourselves bankable and how to make ourselves creditable. So we have to learn it, and then we'll
let me ask you a question. As far as the like a lot of times we're told to stay away from credit. Don't get credit cards. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I hear you say to get you got a American Express financial a business card.
Right.
Explain the difference between personal credit and business credit, and how that is advantageous for you to do.
Okay, wonderful. So when you're dealing with certain financial institutions, it's called a personal guarantor, where your credit will actually co-sign for you. Your personal credit will co-sign for you to get business credit, because the way they look at it is that if they're not being responsible with their personal credit, then they're not going to pay us back our money, right? So, you know, when we got that business credit card, we had to have good personal credit. Okay. So now when you dealing with certain loans, business lines of credit, when you have a business, okay, what they're going to look at is what's called your business credit score, right? So that means some people, you may hear that, well, you have to be in business in 2 years. Well, here's what the problem is that people are living out, is that you need to have 2 years worth of business credit, not just be in business for 2 years. In that 2-year time frame, you need to have building business credit.
Okay.
So what you have to do is get business lines of credit, okay, with your business, and build up your credit so you can start having access to this working capital that you need for your business. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So what you do, you have to take your personal, which was not your personal, but your employer identification number. You have to get a Duns and Bradstreet number with your EIN number. And
the EIN is, you have to have an LLC to get that, right?
That's right. That's right. That's why I say you take your birth, because you can't get the EIN. You got to have a business to have an EIN. So, and before you go to the IRS, family, you need to make sure that your business name is not already taken. So you need to go to the Secretary of State first, make sure your name is legal. Once you find out that it's legit, in other words, you can take it, nobody else have it, then you go get your EIN and all that stuff. Okay, and then once you get your
LLC, EIN,
and then you get your Dun and Bradstreet. It's DUN. Okay, Duns and Bradstreet, like Bradstreet, literally where it sounds, BRAD Street. You know what I'm saying? So you get your Dun and Bradstreet number, and then that's how you get your business credit. You start setting up. You can go to places like Granger, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that's really just where you really starting to start out. So that's what they call business trade lines. You know, and then and they report, but you got to see who they report to when you get these business trade lines. So it matters, because you know what I'm saying, when they look at your report, your business credit report, you want them to report to all three, like Duns and Bradstreet, Experian, TransUnion, because they report your business credit like they report your personal credit. Right. And believe it or not, and I'm dropping jewels tonight, family. People pay a lot of this money for what I'm telling y'all.
Yep.
Believe it or not.
True.
Believe it or not, your business credit sometimes have stuff on it that don't belong there. It happened to my wife and I when we got our business credit profile. Okay, what you do is you go to nav.com, NAV.com. That's where you go set up your business credit and get it started to get reporting, all that stuff, like on Experian and all those things like that. You got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. It's an annual fee. You got to pay for it, but it's worth it, because they'll report your business credit, and you'll be able to see what's on your business credit and things of that nature. And we had to get some stuff off of our business credit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what was hurt. We was like, why are we getting what? And then we found out that we had some stuff on our business credit that didn't belong. And we found out that the company that was supposed to be reporting, they had reported for like 3 months. So we had to keep contacting them for them to fix our credit report so we can qualify for us to get the business funding that we was looking for.
Now tell me, Bakari, why is it important for a person to start a business? Why, especially in our communities and stuff, why do you feel like it's important to have businesses in these communities?
Money gives you power. Money gives you power. Money gives you control. You know what
But
I'm
isn't
saying?
money the root of all evil? I mean,
Now you know it's see it's I understand what they're saying when it's coming to that, because people, you know what I'm saying, would do anything for money. So I understand, but it's not evil. Money is not evil itself. You can use it to do the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? But money is not evil. It's just like a gun.
it's just a tool.
You got a person that can use the gun to rob people, or you got a person that could use the gun, that's a good police officer, okay, that will use it to defend. So is the gun bad? No, it's not. It's a tool that you use to do what you need to do in order for you to get what you need and what you want. Money is the answer to all things. Things literally, like materialistic things. It don't buy you happiness. Some people say, "Oh, I disagree with that." Well, why do some of these wealthy people commit suicide then? So if money bought them happiness, then why was they so miserable? So then no,
Not
it don't.
true.
You know what I'm
Not
saying?
true.
It will give you
Not true.
financial security. You can have financial peace. Again, there's different types of peace. You can have financial peace, but that don't mean that you're going to have spiritual peace, meaning that you got some internal things that you're dealing with that you've been scarred from throughout your lifetime that's emotionally damaging you, and that's why it's so hard for you to enjoy your life, because you're messed up internally.
Right.
Those are
Right.
two different
What
things.
What would you say is, as far as what keeps people from going into business and going to, one, seeking financial advice, and
Mhm.
two, going into business for themselves? What do you think is one of the main things that
Man, it's
have?
more than one reason. Honestly, it's more
Yeah,
than one reason. Some people they don't have faith. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to put in the work.
I got faith in Jesus.
You know, some people, they're not ambitious, man. You know, they don't have no desire to be successful. You know, one thing about being an entrepreneur is this right here, man. It's not for the faint of heart. And let the truth be told, and I'm getting ready to get spiritual on some of y'all right here, right now. Everybody is not a queen bee. I'm going to say it again. Liken the CEO unto a queen bee. Everybody's not a queen bee. Here's the reason why. Do you think that Walmart would be where Walmart is today if everybody was a queen bee? What I'm saying is you got to have worker bees. Who's going to run the cashier? Who's going to drive the forklift? Who's going to be the truck driver? Who's going to
Hmm.
be the manager? Who's going to do the accounting? Who's going to hang up the clothes on the racks and put stuff on the shelf? So what I'm saying is that I already know that everybody is not going to be an entrepreneur, because that's the cycle of life. In order
Right.
for a business to function, everybody cannot be wealthy. Because you got to have worker bees to make these franchises work, like Olive Garden and
Yeah. Any business. It's a mentality.
exactly. So what I'm saying is that, some people don't have no desire. You know why? Because they weren't created to be. And some people don't understand that. All of us have a purpose, and even business entrepreneurs, that's why some of them are so blessed. It's because that's a call on their life. That's what they're supposed to be doing. That they were created to do what they were doing. Like a
Hmm.
Jeff Bezos, like what's our brother name? Oh man, I'm trying to remember his name. Oh yeah, Robert W. Smith. You know what I'm saying? He's a billionaire. One of the first, and I think like maybe
Byron Allen.
in the financial arena. Yeah, Robert W. So even him, it's on his life. Everybody will never see that type of money in their life, because it's not
Hmm.
a part of it's not a part of their life path. And see, these are the things that Christian people get people with too. Oh, wealth. Oh, abundance. Oh man, listen, you got spiritual abundance and you have natural abundance. Everybody will not be billionaires. Everybody will not be millionaires. And people need to understand this. Everybody, just like some people have children and some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's their life path. Was meant to be, will be, was not meant to be, will not be. So let it be. So, you know, you honestly, and I mean this from the heart, you honestly have to truly be chosen to do this, because a lot of times people do stuff and they wonder, well, it's not always because they're not doing the right thing. Sometimes it's just because it's not meant to be. As simple as that. And just because you get out your head that, oh, whatever your heart burn and be passionate for. Well, I thought I was going to be the next Bishop T.D. Jakes. And look where I'm at right now.
Right, right.
You
Yeah,
understand?
and I hear you.
That wasn't my life path. That was
Yeah.
not my life path. The Spirit woke my consciousness up and I relinquished that life. But my goal was to be a full-time overseer like Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, some people talk about, but I ain't talking about getting rich off people. I'm talking about I was literally going into full time. Literally, when I stepped down, I was actually establishing temples. I was actually getting ready to go to Africa to put a temple, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't further the agenda of the colonizer. Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, but that's what I thought. And then I woke up, and then here I am now. I'm a spiritual teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, that's all I'm trying to say, man. Like Rakim, he wanted to play football. Tobe Nwigwe, I hope I'm leave the brother name alone. His name Tobe, he a rapper now. But he wanted to play sports. He said when he started rapping, he said, yo, man, his friend said, yo, man, you should do this for real. He like, what? Man, I'm not thinking about that. Lo and behold, Tobe ended up becoming an MC. And the man is a multi-millionaire now.
Yeah.
But again, Rakim and him thought they were going to be playing sports.
Right. Right.
And now their names is down in MC history in hip hop. I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah. No, I hear you. No, man, I definitely appreciate the message tonight.
You know
and you know, if you could give a person just some advice on basically if there's just say for instance they are wanting to move from abundance to wealth. What kind of advice would you give them just to give them a nugget of how they could just even get started?
So what we talking about, spiritual wealth or natural wealth here?
Well, just spirit or natural money. So money.
Well, you know, they have to learn how, you know, capital works. It's a mindset. Wealth, you don't, you know, you got, I'm telling you, every wealthy person and my mentors, I mean, there's my wife and I mentors are bona fide multi-millionaires. And all of them, it's all mindset. It's all in the mind. You got to have a wealthy mindset. You understand what I'm saying? You know, you can't expect to keep getting everything for free because that's a poor mindset. You understand? You know, ROI investment means that you put money into it.
Return on investment.
Exactly. So how can money grow if you never put nothing into it? Okay, so try this. Go to a bank account that you ain't put no money in and see if you're going to withdraw anything. This is the reason why I keep teaching people, stop expecting a harvest and you didn't sow any seed. That makes no sense. So you got to understand that nothing can come back to you that you never put out. So you got to learn how to invest your money.
It's the same principle. Priming the pump. Got to put in a little to get something back.
Cash flow, like my wife and I, you know what I'm saying? The reason why we get a return is because we invested. We have rental properties. You see what I'm saying? So we're setting my wife up to retire from the business to be able to have the businesses start profiting enough. And some of you got to understand what profiting is that people say, oh, they made, what's the difference? Revenue is how much you have coming in. That's what you collected before your expenses. Profit is what you made after your expenses. So your business has to bring in enough revenue so you can profit enough so you can cover your business and personal expenses. So if you want to live off of your business, meaning you're a full-time entrepreneur, okay, your business is going to have to profit you enough to where you're able to cover the expenses and cover your personal expenses. So you got to learn how to scale your business up. It's important for you to learn about taxes. Okay. It's important for you to learn about that. It's important for you to learn about marketing. It's important for you to learn about that. It's important for you to learn how to take care of your employees and paying them and how to stay out of trouble with the IRS. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to learn business.
Yeah.
Okay. And how to set yourself up where you have constant cash flow coming in to where you'll be able to retire from your businesses, which means that you got to set a financial goal and set that business up to the point where you're able to step away from it and the business is still able to continue to run without your hands on everything.
Yeah. So if you got a business where you got to do everything, all you got is a job.
You know, so that's what it is, man. You got to learn how money works. You got to understand, you know, how to put yourself in the business where you're tax exempt. Okay, you got to learn about cash value life insurance. Okay, this is what the wealthy people do. You know what I'm saying? I'm a life insurance advisor. I don't sell people life insurance. I present families with the opportunity for them to create and to transfer wealth. Let me make that very clear. You know what I'm saying? So you want to put your money into places where it can grow, you know what I'm saying? And it's tax free as well. So now what you want to do as well, get you an estate planner. I'm going to say it again, get you an estate planner. Why is this important? You learn about trust. So for those of you who really want to be wealthy, you got to learn how to not only accumulate assets, but to protect your assets. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So get you an estate planner, which is pretty much lawyers, okay, that understand how to structure it to where you be able to put your business in these trusts. Okay. You better learn how to set up the trust so where when you passing down wealth, it'll go to the right people. That's another problem. Stop leaving money to people just because they're your family. If they have a broke mindset, what you think going to happen when you leave them money? It won't be generational wealth. It'll be generational lack that will continue because you're leaving it with an uneducated heir that's not financially disciplined.
Right. Right.
So you got to also pick the right heir. This is how wealth continues. It's not, and this is where people get emotional at. They think, oh, I built all this wealth, but you leaving it to the wrong person.
Right.
So how is it going to continue?
Without no financial education.
There you go. So it's very important to learn these things. And then, you know, also remember, don't be so spiritual either. Don't be so spiritually minded that you can't function in this earth. You got to fully understand that even as a spiritual person, because we come with that religious mind to this side, that you still have to put in the work for things to work.
Yeah.
You'll never bring your dreams and your vision into fruition by just doing spells. I'm telling you now. You know what I'm saying? You got to do your part. You got to give the universe something to work with, and then the universe be able to put some super on your natural. It's just like sowing a seed. You never sowed it. Well, how can you expect a tree to bear fruit when no seed was sown? And then you can't glean from that tree, from that apple tree or that orange tree, because you never sowed no seed. You never cultivated it. So how can some rain fall on it? How can the sun shine on it? How can all these things happen for it to grow so you can have something to glean from if you never did nothing?
Gotcha.
Just keep that in mind.
Right.
That's all I got.
Right, brother. Hey, man. Well, we definitely have some great knowledge there and stuff. So for sure. So definitely, man. I want to thank you for being here tonight. And I saw your beautiful wife in the chat. She was chatting it up.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That's what she do.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, man. And
You're
Hey,
welcome.
don't
Thank
definitely want to
you.
wish you well. So, is there somewhere that people can get in contact with you? So, I got Sky Legacy Financial Services.
Mhm.
How can they contact you if they want to get some coaching or something from you?
Oh, sure, man. Like right there. It's right there under my name. BokkarieJohnBoard.com. When you pull up BokkarieJohnBoard.com, that will give you access to my email and to all of my social media outlets. Okay.
Okay,
So even you have the ability, even on our website, there's an ability for you to set an appointment on Calendly. You click on the link there, you can set up an appointment. I even have a business phone number. You can even call me on the business line there as well, and we can talk. We set up an appointment. I give 30-minute free consultations.
okay. Consultations on
Oh, like if they want, budgeting
financial
tips.
consultation.
Yeah, if they want, budgeting tips, because legally, okay, I can only talk about certain things economically because I have to have a series license within certain fields. So I fall within that category, financial, because I'm a life insurance advisor. However, when it comes to financial advice or what have you, okay, it would only be for educational purposes. Okay, so I had to put the disclaimer out there. Okay, I'm not giving you, financial advice. I'm giving you, financial tips. Okay.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. All right, Bakari. Hey, man. Well, again, definitely appreciate you being here. And family, thank y'all for being here tonight. And we will catch y'all on the flip side. All right. All right, family. Well, y'all have a good evening.
Peace, man.